All right, good afternoon, everyone. Um, we are starting right away. Today is a great day, and we're wrapping up our youth development series. Today, we are privileged to have Miriam Lawani. I know she will correct me. I don't know whether I've pronounced your name very well. She's the founder of Greenhill Recycling, well experienced, and she will be discussing with us session 7 and session 8, marketing and branding, and scaling and growth. I will want my colleague from Abuja, Mrs. Margaret Ame, to please introduce the speaker for today. Margaret, over to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Itayo. I'll be taking a very brief biography of the speaker. I know her biography is like an encyclopedia, but I have a very abridged version, which I'll take quickly. So, Miriam Lawani is a multi-award-winning environmental consultant. She is the founder of Greenhill Recycling, a social enterprise addressing poverty, unemployment, and climate change challenges in Nigeria using recyclable plastic waste as the currency to exchange value. She is an alumnus of the prestigious Academy for Women Entrepreneurs, AWE, a U.S. Department of State program. She's an alumnus of the Cherry Blair Foundation for Women. She's also an alumnus of the United States Carrington Youth and an alumnus of Faith Foundation, among others. Miriam continues to lead social and environmental impact. Miriam continues to lead social and environmental impact interventions focused on mitigating health risk in indigent communities. With almost 7 years experience as an active recycler, her work and impact are far-reaching and have enjoyed attention from both national and global media publications, such as CNN, Lioness of Africa, and Empower Africa, among others. We are privileged to have this amazing alum with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Miriam Lawani. Thank you. Over to you, sir, Mr. Itayo. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Hame. Very grateful. Miriam, we're very grateful to have you once again. So without much ado, we turn the table over to you. Over to you, Miriam.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
It's good to be here. It would be nice to get it. I'd like our session to be very interactive for those who are watching from different spaces across the country, I believe. I would like to share a few tips around marketing as well as growth with us. And I'll be using, my experiences, relatable experiences that I believe we can reckon with, especially given the context of Nigeria. I will share my screen very quickly, just to say that you shouldn't focus on the slides. These are just, pointers. These are just pointers to give us an idea, I think would benefit more if we focus on the conversations and try to be present. But before we start, I'd like to get a feel of the class, right? So I have something interesting for you guys. If you could just quickly, I'll share my screen. Sorry, hold on 1 minute. Please let me know with a thumbs up when you can see my screen. Yes? Yes? Can you give me a thumbs
Yes.
up? Fantastic. So if you have your phone, you can scan this barcode very quickly. I just want to get a feel of the people that I'm having a conversation with. You can scan the barcode, or you can go to that website, www.menti.com, and enter the code. But if you scan the barcode, it'll be faster and easier. So if you've done that, just give me a thumbs up. I can see the screen of the participants. So if you just give me a thumbs up, I can actually see if you're on. So let me know quickly. You can just scan the QR code. Fantastic. Okay. Okay. Let me know when I can move on. Are we all in? Yes?
Just hold on a little.
Okay.
Only about 3 are connected.
Yeah, I can see that 3 people have joined. 4, okay, good. Just so that, I mean, there's nothing, most of the things we're going to share today, some of you already have ideas, or some of you perhaps already know some of them, so very, very key is the fact that we need to be interactive. I'm here to learn from you as much as you are also gleaning from my years of experience, right? But we're all here to learn together. And the best way to learn is to share, really. When you speak up and you share what you already know, it expands your mind to be able to take in more. Good. So we have 11 people. Can we move on? We have about an hour to spend together, and that's not enough time to go through marketing and sales.
You can extend by 20 minutes so that we have 1 hour, 20 minutes.
Okay,
And then we
cool.
can dedicate the rest time for discussion. Just in total, we have 2 hours. So
Fantastic. Okay, that's fine. All right, thank you for clearing that. So let me know when I can move on. I'd really love for everyone to be a part of this. I see 14 people now.
so many. Mine is crawling. So
Oh,
let's
wow.
wait for like 1 or 2 more minutes.
2 more minutes. Okay. We're good. Are we also able to, are the participants also able to put chats? Like, are
Yes,
they able to? Okay,
yes,
fantastic. Okay, cool.
I think you can go ahead now.
Good, okay. Fantastic. So, welcome again, everyone. Just want to get a feel of, how you're feeling today. How are you feeling about this training? Please just go ahead and put your response. And we would all see if you get logged out in the process, that's the barcode down there. You can easily scan it. So just let us know, how are you feeling about this training? Are you optimistic? Are you excited? Are you all, not again? I hope there's nobody like that. So, oh, nice, okay. Happy, great, amazing, optimistic, awesome. You want to learn, beautiful. Okay, fabulous. You're feeling beautifully, interesting. Okay, you're feeling cool. Some people are nervous. Why are you nervous? Some people are nervous about the training. You're not going to write an exam now. What's making you nervous? Oh, wow. Okay, interesting. Fantastic. Some people are anticipating that they're going to get on new skills. Good, energized. Good, okay. Moving on. Moving on. Moving on. I have 2 more icebreakers for you. I like how the board is filling up. Expectant, you're feeling high. I trust that you stay high at the end of the training as well. Somebody is just there, neither here nor there. I hope that at the end of the training, you would have moved away from being just there to be very, very optimistic. Okay, next. I also want to know if you already have a business. Yes, no? So let's have an idea of the people who already, okay. Interesting. Nice. Okay. See? Sorry, sir. I see you're tired. Were you the one who put just there?
I'm hanging in there.
Oh, don't worry, you'll be fine. Just a few more minutes. Oh, interesting. You see, it was great to do this, right? Because I assume that most of us are aspiring entrepreneurs. So this is very valuable to me to see that more people actually already have existing businesses in the class. Beautiful. Okay. All right, so 16 people already have business, 17, 10 people don't yet have. Okay, nice. All right, so if you do have a business, 17 of us who said we have businesses, what sector does your business operate in? Or if you don't have yet, the reason you're here today is because you look forward to starting up your own business, right? So even if you don't already have a business, just let us know the sector you intend to start your business in. Beautiful. Mobile development, ICT, poultry, agric, nice. IT, fashion, nice. Fashion, design, fabrics, beautiful. E-commerce, nobody is in my sector. You should not make me cry. Fish farming, keke, nice. Oh, okay. I'd like to hear from this person who puts keke. What does do you mean shuttle business? Design and print, shuttle, transportation, accessories, digital, AI, artificial intelligence, graphic design. Nobody is in my space. This is heartbreaking. Somebody should rescue me, please. Pharmaceuticals. Okay, let's move on. This is sad. This is very sad. I hope that I'll be able to change your minds. That's not the goal here anyways. That's just for fun. But yeah, data science, entertainment, fantastic, fantastic. Okay. So I have a good knowledge of the people I will be speaking to. Finally, for this session, what would you like to achieve at the end of this training? Very quickly, so we can move on. Very quickly, what do you anticipate? What would you like to achieve? How do you want what do you want to take away at the end of 2 hours of your time that you cannot get back, so that you know that this is not a waste of your time. What are your goals? Learn how to grow my business through marketing and branding, to learn more on how to manage my business, how to take my business to the next level, startup grants and opportunities. Okay. I don't think I'll be talking about that today. It's not in my, it's not within the context of this training, but I guess we can talk about that maybe personally later. I have been opportune to access some grants as well. So understand how to work with teams. Fantastic. To achieve the first step, more like a push to start my plans. Beautiful. You're in the right place. To improve my knowledge on business sectors. Well, sound skills on new branding. How to venture into the transport business. Okay. Fantastic. Okay. So you can still keep your responses coming in. I would get them. So very quickly today, we're talking about marketing and branding. And briefly, we would look at growth and scaling. So like I said, I'll just share my slides. I'll make this very, I'd expect us to be very interactive as we go. Okay. So when we talk about marketing, right, and branding, what really are we talking about? I'd like to begin with this quote that says, marketing is no longer about the stuff that you make, but about the stories that you tell. I'm sure someone is thinking, how's the business between marketing and storytelling, right? If you want to be able to make a lasting impression in the hearts of the people that you're communicating with, the people that you want to sell to, the aim of marketing is so that you sell, right? So if you want to be able to leave a lasting impression on them, you must be a great storyteller. So it's beyond, oh, I have this great stuff. You know, a lot of us as entrepreneurs, we focus on our solution. We're quick to tell everybody, we have this great solution. It does this, this, and that. It solves this and that problem, you know. And to you, your marketing, right? You have this fantastic product or you provide this great service and you're quick to always tell people about it. And you are marketing as far as you are concerned. But some people might just honor you and listen to you. But the moment you move away from there, they've moved on, right? Because you didn't really leave an impression. You didn't tell a story that connected emotionally, for example, with them. And then you're wondering why you have this fantastic service or this fantastic product and you're not making sales, right? So it's no longer about the stuff that you make, but about the stories that you tell. So when you think about marketing, it refers to all the activities carried out from conception to the consumption of the final product. And take note, when we say product here, we're talking about both goods and services. I run a service business. I run a recycling company, which was why I was heartbroken that nobody is in my space, right? But it's okay. It's fine. I can live with that. Hopefully some of you get to understand. And I'm not surprised because that space is like a niche, you know, business in this part of our world. If you go to developed countries, for example, a 3-year-old, 5-year-old can tell you a lot about recycling. But here we have adults that don't even know what we're talking about because it's niche, right? So it's okay for you to play in any sector, in any industry. But when you're even thinking about that business, For some of us who are even yet to start up a business, this is fantastic. From the conception to when it finally gets to the person who benefits from that product or from that service, you should be thinking about marketing. So for example, if I think about some of the sectors that you shared, Keke, for example, I'm not sure why I chose that, but I think that stood out to me, right? Assuming, this is not the case, but assuming that you were producing these kekes yourself, right? From the process where you even start to put the parts together and manufacture that keke, you want to think about marketing. You want to think about sustainability of that vehicle, for example. You want to think about how you tell people stories that would make them rather get on your own keke as opposed to the other person. If you were in a business where, a food business, for example, I see a lot of people that said they were in the agric business, right? Right from your packaging, you want to think about, how does this go out? How do people perceive it? You know, is it talking about sustainability? In this day and age, if there's no sustainability attached to your business in one way or the other, it's only a matter of time that you then become, you know, people won't pay so much attention anymore because the whole world is moving in that direction. Whether it's in fashion, whether it's in tech, whether it's in IT, whether it's in agri, the whole world is infusing some level of sustainability to their business. So when you talk about conception from the beginning, yes, that product is not ready yet, but even from when you're designing the entire process, you're already thinking about marketing. So every other action that links the product to the final consumer talks about marketing. And marketing is a language, it's a form of communication. And you can see this sounds like tautology, critically important, but it was there for a reason. It is so important. You would think, can somebody just put in the chat box, if you've ever heard since you were born, right? If you've ever heard about Coca-Cola, we all know Coke, right? If you've heard about Coke since you were born, can you put in the chat box, give me a thumbs up or something? If you know what Coke is, the drink, Coke. If you know what Coke is, can I see your response in the chat box? Can people hear me? Just give me a thumbs up so I know you're following.
They're hearing you.
On the page, it is waiting for the presenter to show the next slide. I believe this was from a long time ago, right?
We all
know Coke. Okay, thank you. We all know Coke. Okay, so that we don't waste time. I'm not seeing your feedback, but I'll just move on. Fantastic. Okay, they're dropping now. You all know Coke. So did you ever wonder why all your life, the same Coca-Cola that has been there since you were born till date, they still spend so much money in marketing and pushing their brand? Why? One would think that everybody knows Coke now. Like everybody, every child literally knows Coke. Some people even, mistake other beverages for Coke. They'll call other brands Coke. That's how much it has become a household name across the world. But they still spend so much in marketing their products. Why? Because it's so important. It's critically important, and we would see why as we move on. So if we say marketing is a form of communication, it means that this form of communication must be effective, right? It must be effective. You can't be assuming something else and passing on a different message. You must be certain that what you intend as a business owner, the message you intend to pass on, is received in the way that you intended for it to be passed on. If not, there would be, again, there will be a misfit. You see that you have this fantastic product and you think that you're pushing out the right narrative, but people are not buying it, which takes me back to the first quotes I started with, storytelling. When the receiver of the information accurately understands that information and then acts on it, then you know that your marketing has been effective, right? And how do you communicate? There are several ways. You can, you can engage in surveys, you can have, focus group meetings, you can have one-on-one conversations, you can find out this information via diverse ways. But the major mistake that some of us make as entrepreneurs, we just feel, oh, we have this fantastic idea, it's so great, it's going to change the world. And you don't necessarily find out the people for whom it will change the world, or even find out if they're ready to receive that change, and boom, you push it into the market. We see a lot of these things happening. There must be success metrics for every marketing effort. So marketing is not just done for the sake of marketing. Coca-Cola, continuously till tomorrow, they will still keep pushing their brand. And what are they selling? They will tell you they're selling happiness, isn't it? They won't tell you they're selling Coke, the drink. Of course, they won't tell you the negative effects of the drink, right? They will tell you that they're sharing cheer, they're sharing joy, they're sharing happiness, right? That is what they're pushing out, and they continue to push it out. And so that narrative, whether you like it or not, is somewhere in your face. And so that's why sometimes when you feel so dehydrated or hot or what have you, the first thing you're reaching out for, you're asking for, is a bottle of cold Coke, because you just feel like, oh, that's going to refresh you, regardless of the negative effects, right? So if we say we're communicating through marketing, and we must ensure that this communication is effective and it is decoded in the form and the manner that we intended for it to be, who are we actually passing this message to? Who is our receiver? Because of course you can't be talking to yourself, right? Which brings us to our target audience. So like I said, a day, a week is not even enough for us to go through the subject matter today. But these points have been carefully curated as very important areas that you should pay attention to, in the course of your business. And I believe that this would spur you to actually go and do more research, learn more, and expand on what you've learned today. So who is that receiver that you're preparing this message for, that you want to communicate to, that you want to leave a lasting impression on, that you want to tell a story that would stick? That is your target audience. Now, at this point, I'll use my business as an example. I run a recycling company, right? Greenhill Recycling. And what we do basically, we collect, plastic bottles, your pure water sachet, your aluminum cans, your used cartons, some of these things that you call waste and you just trash. That's our resource, right? So we collect, those are our raw materials. We collect them and we recycle them into other valuable products. And then we pay you for it, right? There must be value, isn't it? Now, when we started off, we wanted to know who are the kinds of people that would naturally be interested in earning from their waste. Now, I've told you what I do behind the scene. I've given you the behind the scene version. But if you walked up to me, for example, and you say, oh, what do you do? I'll tell you that Greenhill Recycling, makes waste a currency to address. At Greenhill Recycling, we make waste a currency to address, social gaps. Waste has become a currency for us. Just the same way you will see Coca-Cola is telling you that they are sharing happiness, or they are. So when you hear waste currency, what's the relationship? You're interested, you're intrigued, right? You want to know more. So that you guys begin to think about some of these stories that you want to tell with your brand. Now, when we start, our early adopters were people who would seek to earn from their waste. People who probably live on less than $1 every day or less than $3 every day. So we needed to identify who these in VGC, for example, that, oh, you want to earn from your waste. It might not really sound, I mean, that's not, I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. That will not be their first priority, right? They're even happy to give it to you for free at no cost. So when we started, our early adopters were not those kinds of people. We identified communities that required the service that we're providing, people that would feel excited, people that would benefit from So you want to ensure that you're identifying the right audience. You want to ensure that you're identifying, you are looking at the spending patterns. You are looking at the demographics of these people. Where do they live? Where can I find them? How much disposable income do they have? How much can they spend on this product or this great service that I'm looking to push out, right? How do they purchase things? How often? Are there people that buy in bulk or are there people that buy one in sachet, you know? So you want to know all these kinds of things. You want to design it. When I started out my business and I had mentors and, you know, going through business school and having to go through all this, in my mind, I'm like, this is a lot of stress now. It's a waste of time. Everybody generates waste. So why should I be? Everybody generates waste. I mean, all of you in that, wherever you are now, you all generate waste, isn't it? So in my mind, I'm like, why are you stressing me? Why are you taking me through all of these processes to define my target audience? For God's sake, everybody generates waste. So everybody is my target customer, but that's so wrong, so wrong. Today because the marketing message, the message you are pushing out has to fit that target audience, right? It must suit that target audience. Like I said, I can't go to Lekki or VGC and be telling them that, oh, come and earn from your waste. No, I'll be pushing a different narrative. Now, today, are we only collecting waste from these kinds of people, the people who are early adopters? No. Over time, as people, because what we were, the message we were pushing then was, you know, live healthier, live longer, you know, mosquitoes are, and it's the same message till date, right? Mosquitoes breed in gutters in some of these places, and they affect your health. They affect the health of your children. But if you recycle these materials and they don't become breeding grounds for all of these vectors, you can live longer, you can live healthier. And then we're also addressing poverty, right? We're creating jobs. People have extra income, much more than what they were earning. This is the message that we're pushing to our early adopters. But with time, as people became more climate conscious, now you want to tell somebody living in a slum, for example, about climate change. What's their business about climate change? They don't care about climate change. They're thinking about the next meal on their table. So you see, when I talk about storytelling, you need to understand the people you're pushing your service or your product to, and know the story that fits with their reality. Now, as people became more aware, became more climate conscious, we can now be telling people in VGC or in Lekki, for example, about climate consciousness and let them know how, you know, their efforts are adding to the big picture. They would get that. Not that, oh, they should come and earn from their waste. How much can you really offer them? You see what I mean? So you need to understand your target audience, understand their demographics, and be able to arrest their attention. Take note, not capture, arrest it. You know, you have to put it under lock and key and be able to engage them. And you must also customer and you feel that you're fine, you know, you must always seek to get feedback from them as well. Now, remember, you're not the only person seeking to arrest the attention of that your target audience. The way they are your target audience, they are also the target audience of several other thousands of people or businesses like you. I mean, just in this class or from the audience, we could see that there are lots of people who are looking to go into the agribusiness. Beautiful opportunity for collaborations, right? That in itself tells you that you're not the only person that God dropped that unique idea for. He's God to all of us, right? So as he gave you that idea, trust me, he has also given like 50 million other people at the same time. It then depends on who runs with it first, right? So you must remember that there are other people who are seeking the attention of that your target audience. And before you begin to sell, you must be able to first sell to yourself. Again, like I said, a lot of us have this fantastic product. Some people sell skincare. They tell you they sell organic skincare products, but they don't use those products. They can't even use it on their own skin, but they're selling it to somebody else, right? So before you begin to sell to somebody, you must first try and sell it to yourself. Practice what you preach. If you look at that product, you look at that service, would you be, if you were on the other side of the table, would you be your own customer? You want to sit down and ask yourself such provocative questions and be honest with yourself to answer yourself. You're into fashion, the clothes that you make, the quality of fabrics you use, your design, your emphasis on details, right? Would you accept that from yourself? Or do you just, anything goes, you know? We just want to make quick cash. Anything goes. So what you're churning out, would you also be a customer? Identifying what sets you apart, what we call unique selling points in business, is very critical. And it's to a large extent defines whether or not your marketing efforts will yield results. So we go into a new community, for example, we want to tell them about recycling. Before we got there, somebody might have gotten there. And after we leave, somebody else might come, right? It's how life is constantly. If you go to a supermarket, for example, or a shopping mall, just on one particular shelf, say milk, for the lack of a faster example, you will see several brands there. What then determines which of those brands you take out from the shelf? If I ask you now, you have different reasons, right? For some of us, it's cost. For some of us, it's quality. For another person, it's just loyalty. I grew up, my father used this, my parents always used this brand. And so somehow now I'm just used to the brand. I don't know anything else, you know? So you must identify as a business. The biggest mistake you will make is to think that, oh, you are the next best thing after sliced bread, or your product or your service is so fantastic and there would be no other. Take note that as you're trying to improve on your business, your competition is also watching you and try to outsmart you as well. So again, quickly, this one, I would like you guys to comment, please. When you look to the left and you look to the right of this screen, immediately, what comes to your mind? When you see Prada, Zen Garden, for those of us who might not be in Lagos or don't know, Zen Garden is a very high-end Chinese restaurant, right? So when you see Prada, Zen Garden, Samsung, what immediately, one word, type in the chat box for me, one word that hits you immediately, you see these products or you see these brand names. Remember, we're looking at marketing and branding, isn't it? So these names are household names, global names. Over time, they've been able to build a brand, a global brand that anywhere across the world, literally, you talk about them, people can relate. People know, or they've heard, or, you know, they have an idea about what you're saying. So when you look at product A, you look at the left side of your screen, what's the one word that comes to you? Please respond in the chat box. So I know I'm not just talking. Quality, okay? Quality. Who else? Thank you, Mrs. Ame, for participating. I hope you're learning too. Premium quality.
Yeah, I am.
Fantastic. Premium quality, okay? What else? I'm looking for a word. The first person to give me that word, I'm going to shake shakere for you. I'm looking for a word. Quality, okay? I'm only saying quality. Guys, now, let's keep this moving. Let's keep this moving. Class A. Okay, so like top range, isn't it? Okay. What else? Who else? International recognition. Well, okay. The other side too. Walmart is internationally recognized. So it's Techno. I doubt that would be the, there's a word I'm looking for, brand. Well, the others are brands. We all know Chicken Republic, it's a brand. That's not the word I'm looking for. Please help me. Should I give you Expo? Should I give you Expo? It's an L word. It starts with L. It begins with L. Luxury. Thank you. Actually, it's product A that is luxury now. Benin City windows. My Benin City people, my Edo people. It is product A that is luxury, right? Okay, thank you. Luxury. Thank you. Immediately you see these names, you're already thinking luxury, right? You can't just wake up tomorrow and you want to buy an original Prada shoe or bag. You know, you'll be talking in a couple of hundreds of dollars, right? But if you look at product B, uniqueness, fantastic. Okay, so product B, what does that tell you? Immediately you look at product B, what comes to your mind? I'm looking at the chat box. I'm looking at the chat box. Affordable. Thank you. My Benin people, for you. You see what I mean, right? General consumer product, fantastic. With 1K, you can go to Chicken Republic and have refuel right now, right? Or 1-2. You can't take 1K to Zen Garden. Why? You can't. I'm not even sure to buy a cup of Chapman, right? So you see my point. Are these brands any less than the other? If you go to Zen Garden and you go to Chicken Republic, you're going to eat. Eventually you would feed. It is food, right? You're wearing a Prada shirt or whatever, or you're wearing something you bought from Walmart. You're still covering your body, right? You see my point. You're doing a Samsung phone or you're using a Techno, you are still able to communicate. But these brands are speaking to very different target audiences. And they have unique selling points that sets them apart, right? Their niche is not for everybody. So you need to identify who are your target audience and what sets you apart. You must be able to put your brand, your product, your service side by side your competitors. And you must know what your competitors are doing. When we started out at Greenhill, trust me, I went to the social media handles of some of our competitors. Well, we can still call them collaborators now because, I mean, the niche, the sector is still very small. It's still growing. So I think we see ourselves more as collaborators than competitions now. But the market is expanding. More and more people are coming into the business. When I started 6-7 years ago, people were like, what are you doing? It was as if I was before my time. But I went to their social media pages and I went to look at some of the comments that people are making. You see people saying, oh, we called since, you've not picked up. You say you were going to pick up, you've not responded, the lines are not going. You know, I picked up on some of these things. And that informed our own strategy. So you must know what your competition is doing. You can't think that, oh, your product is so great and amazing, and you don't care about what somebody else within your space is doing. You can't afford to. So just the same way we did this, you should be able to put your business alongside 2 or 3 major competitors that you have identified. Competition is another story on its own. Even the economy can be your competition. It's crazy, right? But identifying the threats to your business. What are the threats to your business? Who are the people doing what you're doing? Or could even begin to think about doing what you're doing? Your competition can be direct, it can be indirect, right? So you must be able to put them beside your own service and your product and see what works. And if you're ticking all the boxes and saying you're giving yourself ticks for all the boxes, you're not being honest with yourself. So there are areas that your competition will do better than you. And you must be able to truthfully identify that and honestly accept it and look for a way to, you know, build your own capacity to get to that point or even beyond. But you must be honest with yourself and not say, oh, my product is this, and that. No, identify the areas where your competition seems to be better than you and identify the areas that you are better than them, right? For example, even in this space, we pride ourselves to say that we don't harvest recyclable waste from the dump sites. We don't. We collect from the sources of generation. And that way we're able to get cleaner, safer recyclables that are even better for our material handlers to handle, right? And we're able to command a premium for it because the quality is higher. So we will say that, oh, fine, there are people who are doing more volumes than us. At the end of this month, they're doing higher tonnages than we are. But we identify them as people who are just waste haulers. They just buy and sell. So they can buy from anywhere. They don't care. They buy from anywhere. But we care. And we're identifying the reasons why we care. And at the end of the day, we command a premium for these recyclables. Today, we sell to a bottle-to-bottle facility. Not everybody in the recycling space can sell to bottle-to-bottle facilities because they demand high-quality materials. You can actually bring materials to their doorsteps and they will turn it back. Long trucks. I'm talking about a whole truck of maybe 18, 20 tons of materials. They will turn it back because it doesn't meet their standards, right? So what sets you apart? You must identify it and keep hammering on it. And that's your unique selling point. So whether it's on price, whether it's on your customer service, some people are so nice. When they walk into your store or they engage with you, they just feel like, they are part of a family. People are welcoming, people are loving, people are caring, you know. That alone can just arrest. Remember, you're trying to arrest the attention of that your target audience. Some is convenience. We tell you that we pick up recyclables from your doorstep. As long as you reside or you have a business within our zone of coverage, we'll come to your doorstep and we'll pick it up. That's convenience. When we are telling you that and we're telling you, oh, we even pay you for it, you're thinking, why shouldn't I recycle, right? Is it that people can rely on your products? They can rely on your product. You don't make dresses for people and the first time they put on the dresses, some things are tearing apart. They can boast about your product. Is it quality? Is it price? So you need to know what you are competing on. There must be something that sets you apart from your competition. So like I said earlier, you must be able to do this analysis. Sit down honestly with yourself and identify the features that are great and the features that your competition does better than you at, right? And be able to harness and, you know, loud, like they say, loud it. What's your own unique selling point? Loud it. Focus on it, improve on it while you try to get others to come to par as well. But that's your unique selling point. You must focus on it, right? Remember, you must not leave the goalpost unmanned to go and score a goal. Now, this is where a lot of us make a mistake. We feel like, oh, we've gotten this customer, we go into a new place or a new zone, for example, we get new customers. We don't do anything to keep servicing them. When you're marketing, you're not just marketing to only get new customers alone. No, how about your existing customers? What are you doing for them? How are you keeping them engaged? How are you making them remember that, oh, it's a good thing that they chose you and that they are topmost on your mind as well? You know? So you must not run out to go and score a goal. You are chasing after new customers and leave your goalpost unmanned and leave the old ones that you have, right? So I know it's a whole complex, it's a whole, wow, I'm checking time. It's a whole complex, it seems like a lot of things to do. Remember, we're just touching on a few things. There's so much more around marketing, right? But if we take it one step at a time, focus on what's most important. How do I send this story out? If I ask you, a lot of you guys know Airtel, for example. Airtel. I'm sure if I ask one or two people about their adverts, you will be able to remember one or two, especially that time when I think 4G came into play, where you had two mothers, you know, the mother of the son and the mother of the daughter, and all the basketballs that was happening in their family, right? They were trying to pass, it was a story. They always, every single time, they pass on their messages, their marketing messages through fantastic stories that would leave a lasting impression. Now we've moved on to 5G. 4G was several years ago, and I'm here still recounting that example, right? Because it left an image, it leaves a story. If you think about some other brands as well, they don't just come to your face and tell you, oh, move to 4G. 4G is better than 3G, blah, 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 blah. No, there's a story behind it to make their existing customers excited and happy that they're still with them while they're also reaching out to new customers. So we've identified today that we play in different sectors. I mean, we could all see the diverse sectors that we play in. We all have our peculiarities. We all have our target audiences, the different people we're trying to reach. But one thing is certain, your target audience are also distracted by several other messages, like I said, from your competitors. Therefore, whatever you are communicating must be clear and compelling. It must be very clear. Don't leave. Have you not watched some adverts that you're like, when you're done, you'll be like, sorry, what were they trying to say? Please, if you've ever experienced that, can I see a thumbs up? You're done and you're wondering, okay, what are they passing across? You're not clear. You don't want to be there, right? You want to be sure that it grabs their attention. It appeals to your target market. It affirms why your prospect wants to take action. It must always yield. Remember, we said there must be measurable metrics. It must yield an action. And then for those who are not even ready at the time, you must spur their, sensitivity enough. You must give them something enough to look forward to whenever they want to now take an action. They must be able to have it at the back of their minds. So these are some of the things we want to be able to pay attention to as we begin to craft our marketing and our branding strategies. You want to elicit emotions. I said that from the beginning. You want people to feel, oh man, that's cool, that's great. And so the first thing, and sometimes you're pushing out these narratives, you feel like people are not seeing it or hearing it. No, keep doing it. Because one day when they want to make a choice, they reach out to you. Recently, I got an opportunity to speak at a very, very high-level conference, one of the largest in the beauty industry. And how did that happen? Somebody said, oh, they've been following my work on social media. I didn't even know that they were following. So you see those times when you put up a post, for example, and you don't even get a like, only you liked it. It's okay. Like it and share it. Just keep liking it. Somebody is watching. Some people are just watching. They want to see consistency, right? Some people are just looking, are you here for the long run, or are just here because They said some people go into a certain sector because they feel they get grants in those sectors. Let that not be your driving force. It's the wrong way to approach any business, because everything that has a beginning will come to an end. When they stop giving grants in that sector, then what? Even the grantors are not foolish. They're getting wiser and smarter. So let's be careful. What is our why? What drives you into starting up that business or pushing out that narrative? And you might think people are not noticing. They are. So you must be able to put, and please, let's stop this idea of using our business pages to be pushing out our personal narratives. It's so wrong. Separate your business page, for example, from your personal page, right? We're talking about, we started looking at, okay, online marketing now, for example. Separate it. I mean, I'm a child of God. I believe in God. I'm an ardent believer, if there's any word. But you will never catch me putting up things. Maybe there's a program in my denomination now where I worship, and I'll post it in it's wrong. Focus on things that have to do with your business. Don't get your followers confused. So please, let's pay attention to these things. Challenge the audience and change their perspective. And of course, arrest. Pay attention to that word. Arrest their attention. That you have a great product, is fantastic, it's wonderful, is not good enough. Zen Garden, for example, if they said because they're one of the best Chinese restaurants in the country, and so they go into any place and then they go and set up in Shomolu or in Ikorodu, I'm sure your guess is as good as mine. With no beef intended, right? Some of us might live in those areas and there's nothing wrong with that. But you understand what I'm trying to say, that you must identify where the people who are looking to, benefit from the value that you're giving. Zen is highly valuable, but not in that context. So you need to start thinking. Brand storytelling, when done correctly, increases your brand favorability and ultimately customer loyalty. How many of us know a young man who uses chess to raise young people out of slums, chess in slums, right? When you read about his work and his story, you can see that they have a fantastic storytelling behind them, that is pushing the narrative so fiercely. And you even want to get your own children to start playing chess, So brand storytelling is so critical. And that's what big brands leverage on. And we all want to grow to become big brands someday. So we must start thinking about those stories. Vitafoam will not tell you that they are selling a mattress. They'll tell you they are selling comfort. They're selling happiness. They're selling, tie it to something that can elicit the right emotions. And that's where I'm going to stop. Oh, wow. It's almost an hour. Where I'm going to stop for now with marketing and branding. I don't know if we're happy to take questions now or we would wait until after.
I think you should do the second session.
Okay, fantastic. I hope we're learning. Can somebody tell me if they're learning? Oh, wow. Thank you for clapping for me. I see very attentive people.
If you enjoyed till date.
If you're enjoying till now, please, let's see in the chat box.
They're already clapping.
Let's see your expressions. Thank you. Thank you. Some of us are looking tired. So let's jack up our thinking a bit. Shall we? Let's jack up our thinking a bit. So let's do some very quickly. Don't worry, we will not waste time. So let's go. Can we all remember Mentimeter? Can we all remember Mentimeter? Where is our barcode? Is our barcode still there? Okay, so if you're just joining, quickly scan the barcode. But if you were on, you'll be able to just continue. Okay. Thank you. We are communicating. Well done. It's good to know. Okay, so very quickly, let's move on. So based on what I've said so far, what problem or problems does your company's product or service solve? Remember, you must be solving a problem. It's not enough for you to just get out a fantastic product or service. It must solve a problem. It is only a service or a product that solves a problem that gets value in return for that problem. So please, let's hear. What problem is, okay, reducing price for the buyers? Who is disposing and recycling waste? Somebody has come to my sector. My business solves the branding and marketing problems that affect their sales. This allows their business to have the right visibility and communicate to their ideal target audience. Okay. What business is that? Unemployment gap, sustainable environment, and economic growth. Fantastic. That sounds like me, actually. We address poverty, unemployment, and climate change challenges. That's what we'll tell you we address at Greenhill Recycling, right? Using waste as a currency. Accessibility, flexibility. Okay, so we can continue with these questions are just, questions to get you to think. Your business must be solving a problem. It must be. And that's something that we don't focus enough on in this part of the world. We are quick to push out solutions. When I was doing my MBA, we spent an entire semester talking about problems. We're like, oh God, we were tired, right? But when that helped us to bring out fantastic solutions. And when we got to the point of actually coming out with our solutions, we understood the value of focusing on the problem. It is when you focus on the problem enough, you are able to get the emotions, even the unspoken words of your target audience. You understand, there's empathy, you can feel what they feel. So this might not be enough time for us, but still think about it. So when you're pushing out your marketing narrative, what do you aim to achieve? Do you want to get new customers? Do you want to enhance your customer relationships, those that are already existing? And when we look at growth, we will see why it's important for us to enhance customer relationships. Do you want to build a brand that, when you talk about, I go to places today, some people know my business, they don't know me, and it's totally fine. I'm very happy with that. I even prefer it that way. Or do you want to grow sales? So you must be very clear on what your marketing objective is per time. It doesn't mean that would be your marketing objective all the time, but for a particular, period, or when you're pushing out a particular, or when you're coming up with a particular marketing strategy, you must be very clear from the beginning which of these you're trying to achieve. What is your objective? Remember, marketing must have KPIs by which you measure. It's not just for marketing sales. Can you get the slides? Yeah, you can. It's totally fine. I'm happy to share them. Yeah, I think I've answered the question. Yes, you can get the slides. That's totally fine. But more than the slides, I believe that we can engage. They were just pointers. There's nothing really major in the slides, So most of us want to grow sales, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. So it then means that we will think about the message we're passing out and how we're curating that message, to be able to achieve our objective at the end. Okay, so let me stop for now. And let's quickly look at growth and sales. I'm about to share my slides. Please let me know when you can see my slides. Is it up now?
Not yet. Still waiting.
Can you see it now?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Okay. So very quickly, please keep your comments or your questions coming, or you can drop them in the chat box. When we're done, we'll take them. So, I mean, some of us have already identified, right, that we want to increase our sales, you know, there's an end. Marketing, we market, there's an end goal to marketing. There's a reason. We don't just do it just because, right? And as business owners, we don't intend to stay in the same point or in the same place forever. That's definitely not why we go into business. Eventually, we want to scale, we want to grow. Even generally in life, you know, beyond even just being a business owner, we want to scale and we want to grow. So very quickly, in the chat box, please, I would like as many contributions as possible. What is growth, or why is it important for us to grow? Why is it important for businesses to grow? Please put in the chat box. Why is it important for businesses to grow? I can't see anything yet. Why is it important for businesses to grow? Is it me, or is it the network? Nothing is dropping in yet. Need growth to survive. Okay. You need to grow to survive. Okay. Why else do businesses grow? To maximize profit. Okay. For profit making. Any more answers? Growth leads to progress and development. Fantastic. To progress and development. Okay. Growth improves the sustainability of the business. Okay. So profit, I see survivor, I see sustainability, I see development. Okay, so you're all correct. I mean, there's no right or wrong answer, and we all desire to grow. We are not wrong in all our responses, right? When we say a business is growing, it's increasing revenue. Some of you already identified that, profit. You're increasing your market share. Some people want to, their desire is to dominate the market. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, right? They go into a business and they want to dominate the market. We see this a lot in certain, in certain people. I don't want to use certain tribes, but you see some people, they want to have dominance. Even within the food industry, they want to have dominance. So they will say, oh, in this industry, I control, or my business controls 80% of the market, 70% of the market. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. That can be their driving force towards growth. Some people say, you know what, we want to be able to increase our revenue. We did 50 million this year. Next year, we want to be able to do 150 million. What do we need to get there? So when your business is growing, you're increasing your market share, you're increasing your capacity, you're increasing opportunities, you're increasing your customers. Because if you're able to service X number of people to do 100 million, of course, if you want to do 150, you either find a way to upsell to some of these, the existing customers, as well as bring in more customers, or you focus on, like we said earlier, when we are marketing, keeping those already existing customers, nice, well-treated, taking care of them while we're going to look out for more customers, right? So growth helps you to access all of these things that we've said, but it also means that your team will be increasing, right? As your revenue is increasing, your market share is increasing, the size of your team increases. So when you're talking about growth, as your revenue is increasing, your expenses are also increasing, right? This slide just looks to sort of differentiate where we say growth and scaling. Most times they're used interchangeably, but they don't actually mean the same thing. When you're growing, the benefits of that is that sometimes you have access to global markets. You don't play in Nigeria anymore. You now play across West Africa. And before you know what, you play across the world. We see a lot of our colleagues go to, fairs and places abroad to sell their brand. A lot of Nigerian brands now you find on shelves in abroad in different countries, right? So growth allows you to do that. It allows you to access opportunities and all that. And as you're growing, it also spurs innovation. I like that point, because you have to be innovative to be able to sustain growth. That's the truth. You have to be able to bring on some level of innovation. What works here in Africa, in Nigeria, even in Nigeria, may not work in Rwanda, may not work in Kenya, and this is still Africa. Not to talk of when you are now crossing, overseas. Of course, the context is different, and you must be innovative to be able to identify what works separately in different contexts. So growth helps you to become more innovative. But when you're scaling, your revenue is growing at a faster rate than your expenses. But from the definition, you know that one is more sustainable than the other. You can scale very quickly, and if you're not careful, get into trouble. Now, when we started, as at the time when we started Greenhill Recycling, this was in 2016. 2016, we officially registered in 2016, right? At the time, there were very few recycling companies that were in existence. If you type recycling companies in Nigeria, or or in Lagos, or for example, maybe one or two names will pop out. Over the next maybe 1 or 2 years, we saw certain brands just all over the place. They were everywhere, which is not a bad thing. You could find them. I mean, if somebody is requesting for a pickup in Lekki, they are there, we'll pick up. In this one, we'll pick up. In that one, we'll pick up, They were everywhere. But over time, they were not able to sustain that scale in that sense. And so you find out that, little by little, operations are shut down in this place, operations are shut down in the other place, and perhaps their model also did not allow them to be able to sustain all of these places. Perhaps if they had adopted one of the models we'll talk about very, very shortly, perhaps some of those locations might still be existing. But they had their own modus operandi, and they probably didn't take into cognizance some of the things we'll talk about today before they started scaling. So we need to be careful. Now, there are several ways we can scale. We can scale organically. Something we all call bootstrapping, right? So you make a profit from your business, you turn in that profit back into your business, you grow from within, basically, right? You are making some profit, you're utilizing your resources, you're utilizing your own resources, your own capabilities. You're not looking outward, right? And you're growing. Your revenues are increasing, your profit margin is increasing. At the end of the year, you can see year-on-year growth, right? So it's a form of growth. You can do that by maybe offering promotions to existing customers. You can develop new product lines. We have always made, our end products have always been bales. But very soon, by God's grace, we're introducing another product line, which are flakes, which we can export and earn FX from, right? So you can do that. You can upsell. This works a lot for people who are in the intellectual business. A lot of people sell knowledge today, and it's a fantastic way to make money. I will soon start selling knowledge too. So I hope you guys will buy when I start, right? You know something. There are lots of things that we know. We just take it for granted. We feel like, because you know it, you feel it's just common knowledge. No, it's not. There are lots of people who are out there who would pay for what you know, right? Upselling usually works a lot in the knowledge business, where you see somebody sells you a product, doesn't give you the full package, and then says to you, oh, if you want to access the full thing, they then upsell. They give you an opportunity to maybe to pay something else, add on to whatever you have, you've paid for already, to move on to the next ladder, or the next level in that sense. So these are ways that you can grow organically. Of course, you can also expand your customer base. When we started, we're only doing Oshodi, Solo. Today we can collect from 6 or 7 local governments within Lagos State. And we're careful to do that. We get calls from the island, from these places. We tell them, we don't offer pickup services in these places for now, because we've learned from the examples of some of the people that we saw when we set out, that were everywhere. And we need to be strategic also in the way that we scale, So we're very clear to say, oh, we don't offer pickup services from this area yet, but you can drop off. You can drop off anywhere. So when you're thinking about growing or scaling, you must be very strategic, and else you might find out that you're very profitable. It's very possible to be profitable, or rather making a lot of revenue. But as a business, you're broke. You don't have cash, you don't have disposable income. You can be broke as a business and still be making a lot of sales. You're selling a lot, but as a business, you're broke because you've extended yourself so thin, everywhere. So we need to be very strategic about how we grow. If you're growing organically, you're able to manage stuff and you're in control of a lot of things. A lot of things don't slip, past you. It's easy for you to finance through internal profit. Some people are very risk adverse. They don't want to take risks. They don't want to hear that, they can go and get a facility from a bank or anything like that. They don't want it. So they are happy. Some people will tell you they want to sleep well. I want to be able to sleep well at night. You know, once they hear loan, they're adverse to it. But I'll tell you today, when you want to grow your business, you don't grow your business you grow your business with other people's money. Take my word for it. When you're starting up, yes, you start up, people want to be able to see proof of concept. What have you done? What can you do? What have you been able to do? Right? And then people will come to support you. Maybe friends, maybe families initially, one or two people who buy into your vision, yes. But when it's time to expand, to grow, you don't do that with your money. You do that with other people's money. So let's put that at the back of our minds. It's also less disruptive on productivity, on operations, or staff. When it's time to expand inorganically, if I will use that word, a lot of changes must occur. And sometimes that can be very disruptive, even to your staff. You know, they can't manage it. And when we're talking about growth, of course, you can't grow alone. I didn't think that I needed to hammer on that point. That goes without saying. You cannot build a business and grow by yourself. A one-man show. No, it can't happen. You must have people, you know, that you're able to work with. And of course, some of the downsides of growing organically is that it takes a lot of time. A lot of time. You can be in one place for years. You're doing well as a business, but you're just there at that same, you know, spot. And to the outside world, they are wondering, we see a lot of brands. There are certain brands, for example, if I want to use a cake brand, for example, there are certain names we know that within a short time, you're seeing them everywhere. They're opening stores here and there and there and there. But there are some that you've known. Maybe that's your auntie, or that's your church member, or, you know, somebody that you know that bakes fantastic cakes, even far better than these ones. But they've just had just one outlet. Since you were born to today, they are still there, right? So I guess people just need to identify what works for them and what strategy they want to apply. Of course, market forces may also limit your growth. Nigeria is a good example today. You know, it must take grit, skill, strategy to be able to scale successfully in this country, present day, you know. And sometimes you miss out on opportunities, big things that, you know, should come your way. And they look at you and they say, no, this person does not have the capacity to do this. You know, so those are some of the pros and the cons of growing organically. Now, there's another level to growth, partnerships, right? So at this point, I think it's safe to mention that, you know, if you want to, you know, they say if you want to go far, you go alone. But if you want to go fast, you go what? Together, right? I hope I didn't mix it up. You know, I mixed it up, right? Okay, so if you want to go if you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go together. So if you start thinking longevity, sustainability, you want to start identifying partnerships. Organic growth is great. Nobody says you cannot grow organically and be okay as a business. But they say collaboration is the new competition. It's cool to collaborate. So rather than look at that person and think, it's because of this person. For example, now, I am in the recycling space. When I started out, I used to see all these big brands as polluters. Imagine, people are the ones polluting the environment. You do this, you do that. You do this, you do that. And you don't make us see, you know, we had so much to say about them. But flip it. If they're not polluting the environment, would you even have a business in the first place? There will be no waste for you to pick up, right? So rather than identify them as your enemies, what did we do? We aligned. Today, we are proud partners of Coca-Cola Foundation. We know how much investment has gone into our business through the Coca-Cola Foundation. We have identified a potential partner. You can do that by attending when they are doing things within your sector. Don't just sit down. That makeup fair I told you I had the opportunity of speaking at a few weeks ago. The lady who did my makeup to that event, I was telling her, see where I'm going to. And she was like, hey, and they invited me. Oh, I said, why are you not going now? This is a fantastic opportunity for you to, meet with other people doing what you're doing, see what is happening internationally, because people from across the world brought in their, they had stands, they had a fair. And she said to me, there was no, maybe if I had seen someone for us to go together. My heart broke. I'm like, what? You got an invite to such an occasion and you are saying you are looking for someone, that if she had a fellow makeup person that was good, she cannot go alone. I'm like, are you for real? So when you identify, when you go to some of these events, it's not because what they want to say there, sometimes you don't already know it. It's for partnerships. Sometimes it's for you to be able to identify valuable partnerships that would help your business later on. Not because what one facilitator or what one panelist wants to come and say, you don't already know it. So when you're able to identify such potential partners, people who align with your visions, with your values, with your goals. Coca-Cola, they are releasing waste into the environment. They want to ensure that they are recovering back their waste products. They want to be responsible for the life cycle of their products. Of course, they cannot be the ones going on the streets and picking them up, right? So what do? They identify people who can be partners, who align with their goals. We need people to be able to invest in us to grow. They need people who will be able to pick up their waste. So we have a shared, value. We have shared value. We are driving at the same goal. At the end of the day, we want waste out of the environment. We want a zero waste environment, right? So when you're seeking partnerships, you need to be able to look at people who are aligned in terms of your values and your goals. And then you reach out. Is either you write emails or you verbally express, that you desire for such partnership. And you must be able to bring value. I think that's one of the mistakes that we make. We feel like we don't have anything to offer. Please, if you cannot show the value that you're offering, don't bother. Because there must be something that you're offering. And you must be able to highlight that. No matter how big you think that establishment or that company is, there is value that you provide for them. I just told you, Coca-Cola in all their magnanimity and their whatever, they can't go to the streets and go and pick the plastics now. They can't. They must partner with people who will be able to help them to achieve their zero waste. So you must identify what you have that is valuable to the other partner. And then you negotiate. Another mistake we make is that we use mouth. I have been burnt. Even that I'm talking to you about this now. I have learned the hard way. Oh, my friend, and I trusted somebody to go into some partnership. It was like film. Bollywood. The way the thing flipped against me, I was shocked. I woke up. But guess what? It moved on. Before I could realize it, it was gone. An opportunity that I brought. So you can't have friends and family. You must formalize everything. A lot of us as young entrepreneurs were so eager. We forget to keep records. We forget to document everything. We forget to formalize things. We just feel, it's my friend or it's my family or we are both aligned. Yes, you know that you share the same vision and values and goals, but put it down in writing. And then you implement whatever you have both agreed to do. Not that a few minutes down the lane or a few months down the lane, you're defaulting in whatever you guys agreed to do. Because guess what? You can default with that partner and think you've been smart, right? But what goes round? It's a very small world. You'll be shocked how small this world is. This entire world is very small. Word goes round very quickly as well, especially bad word. So you want to ensure that you are building on your integrity. If you say you want to deliver on this, that is what you're delivering on. And then you review and you improve. They say you cannot manage, you cannot measure it, you know. So whatever it is that you guys have agreed to doing as in terms of that partnership, you're reviewing it and you're improving on it. You're measuring it. You're looking at how to get better. And then for the purpose of this training, briefly, I'll look at franchising. Franchising is the right that a manufacturer or a business gives to another business to allow the beneficiary to sell their product or service of the parent business. Big grammar. We all know a lot of franchises, and I'll be happy to hear from you. Simple. I have a business. I'm the parent business. I initiate the vision, I have access to the intellectual property, but I then give out the license to other businesses to grow, to sell their own product and their service under my brand name. Now you might say, but is the parent brand that is benefiting? No, not alone. Not alone, because sometimes they even share their intellectual property. They share their recipes. They share some of the things that they know. Please, in the chat box, can people give me examples of franchises that they know? Examples of businesses that are franchises. You know a lot of them, trust me. Anybody, anyone that you know. These are ways that, we can grow. These are ways that we can grow. KFC, fantastic, fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. The KFC you know today is a franchise, right? Mr. Biggs, okay? Fantastic. So you're wondering, how is there a KFC here? Is a KFC there? KFC is a global brand. They're everywhere in the world, right? You're wondering, thank you. You're wondering, how is it that they're everywhere at the same time? It's a franchise. They have access to the, to the main ingredients, and there are standards, right, that you might follow, that you must follow, sorry. So that you ensure that if you're eating a KFC burger on Allen, for example, it tastes the same as when you're eating it in Lekki Phase 1, right? So you as the franchisee, you're enjoying a lot of benefits. You don't have to struggle so much to be known. You're already enjoying brand awareness from day one, because all they see is KFC. They don't have to know the person behind it. But people will come in and they'll patronize it because it's KFC, right? Sometimes they even train your staff, so you don't have to, you save on that cost, right? Some of them, like I said, share their intellectual property with you at a certain cost and maybe shared revenue, so it depends on what works. Now, let's rewind back to that business as we begin to wrap up. Rewind back to that business I talked about when I started out Greenhill Recycling a couple of years ago, that were everywhere. Now, imagine if they had adopted the franchise model to their business. Perhaps some of those businesses wouldn't have been closed down today, or some of those locations, sorry. The business is still very much in existence, but most of those locations, they've stopped operations or they've just closed down indefinitely. Why? Perhaps they were not willing to share. They were not willing to delegate responsibility. They wanted to be in control over everywhere. And that's one thing we must learn as entrepreneurs. As we grow, you can't grow alone. You must be able to delegate some authorities. Please, if you forget anything, don't forget this. The knowledge you need to start up as an entrepreneur is not the same you need to grow a business. There are two different ones. I'll repeat it again. The knowledge you require as an entrepreneur to start up a business is not the same you need to grow that business. You need to learn a new set of skills to grow. At Greenhill now, we're at the stage where we're looking to grow. And we had to start putting some things in place, right? And you don't have to have everything. That's why sometimes you collaborate. Sometimes you partner. Sometimes you want to deploy technology. You don't have to own the technology. Sometimes you can partner with somebody who already owns the technology so that, you're easing off on your costs, right? For us, for example, we've hired an HR. The HR is not under our payroll. We have a certain agreement that we have. but they are providing the service to us the same way they are providing to other companies. We don't have to own to say, this is our HR. The person resumes in our office in the morning and closes at night. No, you don't have to do that. So there's several ways that you can, find ways to collaborate and to ease off your costs even as you grow, so that you're maximizing your profits, right? So these are some of the ways. There are several other ways that we can grow. And I'm happy at this point to take your questions. Thank you. Pie Express, Jendo Bread, Coca-Cola. Is Coca-Cola a franchise? I don't think Coca-Cola is a franchise. So.
Let's put our hands together, everybody. Okay.
Thank you. Spencer.
Now we're ready to ask our questions. This is your last opportunity. Yes, who is going to sell the cat? Yes, I can see American Center, Lagos.
Thank you very much, sir. Ma, thank you very much. That was a very well inspiring lecture you just delivered. I just wanted to ask, with the industry that you are in currently, were you at the COP 2023 in Dubai? Because what you're doing, you're supposed to be at that conference so that they'll be able to know these are some of the things we are doing regarding environmental degradation and, of course, climate change, regarding climate change. That is one. Then secondly, I wanted to know, you mentioned something about Coca-Cola, because they advertise, that's why they are still relevant. But there is a company that is relevant as well as Coca-Cola, but that doesn't even advertise. I don't know if many of us know this St. Louis Sugar. St. Louis Sugar, they don't advertise at all, St. Louis, and they are still relevant in the industry. And I don't think they don't even do any advertisement. So I just said I should ship that in. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay, so I can answer immediately. No, I wasn't at COP. I was going to say if I was at COP, I wouldn't be here. But you don't even know where I am. So I wasn't at COP. The timing did not allow. Yes, I know it's a very important gathering of people who operate in my sector. But there were other issues, some personal, some family. And also we're at a point at Greenhill that we're growing, we're expanding to new facilities that did not allow for me to attend the COP. By God's grace, the next COP, by God's grace, I will be there. Now, yes, I mentioned Coca-Cola to say that I mentioned them to buttress the fact that regardless of how big you think you are or how big you've gotten, it's still important that you're marketing, that you're pushing your narrative. That's why I mentioned Coca-Cola. I was listening to a comedian recently that said since he was born, the only thing that has not changed is St. Louis Sugar. So I like that you put out that example, the shape, the size, and everything. Yes, maybe you would say that they don't do any advertisement or they don't market as much as they ought to. But are they really so relevant? The truth of the matter is that if you go to most shops today, yes, you will still see St. Louis. The people who will still die-hard consumers that would still do St. Louis. But you've seen even our local brands, the likes of the Dangotes and all these other brands that have come up and are selling fast. I don't know what their market share is. I can't speak for them. I can't say, oh, their market share is higher or lower, right? So I don't think that if there's something that is important, like the world is moving very fast. Technology and all of these things are making the times that we are in very fast-paced. So I don't think it's smart to say, oh, because St. Louis doesn't do a lot of advertisements and they are still relevant, it's okay for us not to advertise, or it's okay for us not to market. I hope that's not the point you're trying to make, because if you look at it, how relevant truly are they? I don't use St. Louis in my house. I don't know how many of us still use St. Louis. Maybe we should use show of hands to check how many of us still use St. Louis sugar. But I get your point. Thank you for the comments. Thank you.
Yes, let's have Oshobo. Oshobo, then followed by Mina. Very quickly.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for the informative lecture. Please, I want to ask a question because I've been to a lot of seminars on entrepreneurship, and I find out that sometimes you're passionate about a business, but it's as if it's taking a while for it to grow. And so they begin to advise you that maybe you should go and study the society, find out the problems around you, and invest in that instead of what you're really passionate about. Because even this recycling of a thing, I was just, as you talked about it, even a long time ago when I was in the States, they've been, teaching us about the importance of recycling. So, but like I have a business, but I'm looking at it as if maybe it's going to take a long time. Should I focus on it, or should I still have plan B, plan C, and plan D, especially concerning solving problems around my society? Thank you.
Very quickly, what business do you do?
I'm a media consultant, so I'm into content generation.
Fantastic. Okay. So I understand the part of, following your passion, right? I was listening to a group of people recently. They were having a very heartfelt conversation, and they were like, oh, do what you really love or chase the money. And someone was like, that was her answer. That's not my answer. And she was like, oh, please chase the money and then later go and do what you love. So, but that's not my response to you. You find more fulfillment when you do something that you are really passionate about. It gives you fulfillment. And as with any business, it takes time. I think that's the part that we fail to recognize. It takes time, right? I can't deal with I have somebody who deals with content in my business. I can't even deal with it. It's, in my opinion, it's a lot of work. So you have to be, I feel like you even have to be extremely intellectually sound. You have to read a lot and know a lot about different areas, So there is no business that doesn't have value in that sense. You must be willing to walk through the process. But most importantly, like I explained from the beginning, it must solve a problem. So when people say to you, oh, look at things around your society, they are invariably saying, what are the problems within your society that you can have a solution to? Content creation and the media stuff it's the solution to a problem or people's problems. All you need to do is to identify the people for which that service you are creating is a problem for. It's a problem for me. You see what I mean? So it's for you to be able to identify. Now, can you pursue that you really care about, and perhaps maybe because you're not seeing the funds coming in as quickly as you want, and maybe have something else? Well, I don't know. Are you able to? That's a question that you can answer, because growing a business takes a lot of work. So if you're able to manage, maybe you have something you're really passionate about, but there's something by the side that you also do. I have a friend who is a banker during the day and is a DJ at night. True story. And he manages both. He really loves his DJ business, and yet he's a banker, so you are the only one who can answer that question. I know that it takes a lot to grow a business, but we must be willing to wait the process, to follow the process. I hope I was able to provide some relief to your question.
All right, let's go to Mina.
Did you say Mina, sir?
Yes, Mina.
Oh, wow. The people from Mina. Amazing.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm Isaac. My question is, I'm talking about the same franchise you said about. I was asking, is it that franchising, you are franchising, is it that when you are starting up a business and the business is not still, maybe you don't really have funds, enough funds to expand your business over to other areas or countries, is that the reason you have to franchise, like to authorize other people to be able to sell your product in those places? Because talking about some sufficient financial company like maybe Dangote, will you tell me like maybe Dangote Group now, if they want to sell their product maybe in other country, do they need to franchise with other people to be able to sell their products? Because I believe they're already financially sufficient. So what I'm trying to bring out now is franchising. Is it that when you don't really have enough funds, that's the reason you have to franchise your product in other sites? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. My direct response to that is no. In short, before you set up a franchise, you must have built capacity. You actually sort of answered the question yourself, right? You must build capacity. There must be something that commands value enough for people to want to associate with your brand. If you don't even have enough money, how can people associate with a broke brand? If you understand what I mean, right? I'm not referring to you. I'm referring to the context that you painted, right? So franchising is not, because you don't have enough money to push your product, then you go and franchise. You must be recognized first, You must have the capacity. There's a particular business, for example, now, if I use recycling as an example, when we want to set up a franchise in future, we will be able to provide people with machines, with capacity, some value for them to come under us or for them to be able to be willing to operate under our brand name. There must be something for you to offer. So the direct answer to your question is no. You don't start franchising because you don't have the capacity. The reverse is actually the case. It is when you do have the capacity, you've built a brand identity, you have certain value like assets and some of the things to give out to people. You have something to sell out to people to make them attracted enough to want to, come under your brand name. That is when you franchise. I hope I've answered your question.
Okay, let's go to Uyo.
Okay, so the question I wanted to ask is, how did you create your network in your recycling business? How did you expand the network, and how did you broadcast your brand for people to know that you are there and also partake in the recycling business that you have to offer for them?
Thank you. Okay, I like it when I always share my personal story as much as possible. I tried not to share too much of my own personal journey. I started from the garage of my house. So it was not as if anything fantastic was already in place, right? I was working, I was doing a 9 to 5. While working, I was trying to build capacity. When I got to a point where I felt, okay, I've built a certain level of capacity, I pulled out, and I also wanted to focus on my business full time, which is the response I gave to the question that was asked to say, can he have a side A, side B? Only you know if you can manage it. At that point, I knew that I needed to be on ground to focus on the business fully. I started with regularly, we went to engage with people one-on-one. So we had a lot of, because like I said earlier, our early adopters were people who earned less than $3 a day. So people who you would literally say are at the bottom of the pyramid, right? They are not on social media. They are not on Instagram or Facebook. They are in markets, they are in communities, they are in those sort of places. So we engaged in a lot of awareness and sensitization programs. We always had one at least every quarter when we started. Sometimes we did it ourselves. Other times we collaborated with other organizations. That's why I said you must collaborate. There was an NGO who did cleanups. They were only focused on cleanups. So we partner with them. We either support their T-shirts, and then our logos will be there, So little by little, people were getting to know what we did. We go to houses, we go to doorsteps, we go to communities, we have street cleanups, or we even walk on the streets, So we did a lot of those. And then with time, of course, we went on social media. We started to talk about what we did, shared the work that we're doing. We're telling our stories. And then when there's any engagement within our space, we ensured that we were there. If there was anything, we were in the right groups as well. When there are recyclers in Nigeria, you're there. When there are recyclers in Lagos, you're there. Our stakeholders, Loma and all the rest, they know us. You make yourself known and relevant. So when some opportunities come, they definitely will just reach out to you. They will call you. So there was hardly any event that was happening within that space that Greenhill will not be represented. So that's how we grew gradually. I would say that my brand, I don't know how many of you know Greenhill before today, So I wouldn't even say that we're that popular yet, but these are some of the intentional strategies that we're engaging to ensure that we're building our brand, gradually. And our message is consistent. We're not confusing people on our social media pages, or, our messages, we try to make our messages very consistent. Thank you. I hope I've answered your question.
You have.
And then we get
Yes.
opportunities like this. For example, all of you today know about, I've said Greenhill. I'm sure you will go and check afterwards. What's this person talking about? So these are the kinds of opportunities that you take on to also build your brand. Thank you.
And of course,
But I also-
generations after you will be watching this as well.
Yeah. So the truth is, nobody would blow your trumpet for you. You have to blow it yourself. As in, you must find a way. You must find a way. Let everybody know what you're doing, but you're passing it as a story. If you keep pushing it in people's faces, recycle or die. If you don't recycle your waste, you die. Of course, nobody will recycle their waste. You see what I mean? So, but you find a way to pass the message in a way that's
all right. Very quickly, we take Ibadan and Surulere together.
Okay, thank you. The question here, let me talking about marketing from conception to production. We've seen a great product trying to communicate to the market. Maybe they didn't get a breakthrough. Oh, yes.
We can hear you.
Yes, I'm muted. Can you hear me now?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. So my question is that talking about this marketing concept from conception to consumption, we've seen a great product that didn't really get a breakthrough into the market as a result of maybe market uncertainty.
Ibadan, please go ahead. We've lost Surulere.
Good afternoon, Facilitator. I have to comment on a wonderful presentation this afternoon. What I want to let you realize is this climate change conference in Dubai. So my intention.
All right, I think we're having problem hearing you. We are so sorry. Is there any other question from anybody? The line is not clear at all. Any other person? Surulere, we can see you again. Can you try?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, good. I'm asking, I say, talking about this marketing, would it be that timing would be the major factor that will be put into consideration launching your product, or you just have to maybe just set out and then augment the market? I'll give you a case study. Like during COVID, we had this product that they called Too Sure. They tried to take advantage of the lockdown and the sanitizer issue and to launch our product. But after COVID, and things come to status quo, and Too Sure is no longer making that noise that it was making during COVID. And I'll take you to Coca-Cola, that's your popular case study, that Coke, for instance, they don't really do advertising as much. From what we see, they just have a strong branding, a strong presence in community that they relate to their community through their strong merchandising, that whereby you just find a product-friendly kind of a market that you just walk into a restaurant and you see their friend that is branding their product. You just walk in there and take a product. So how will a small business that is coming up be able to at least command such presence like the other big challenge the standard of the big companies that are coming up? That's my question.
All right. Mariam, were you able to get it? I think we have lost Mariam. I got your question. I don't know what Mariam would say because she's a resource person, but let me just quickly add my own voice. Coca-Cola has not slowed down. That's what she said in advertising. When there's a football tournament anywhere, you see Coca-Cola there. You see Glow there. On the road, you see Coca-Cola. You go to restaurant, you see Coca-Cola. Everywhere. And the major reason why they do that is because they want to be what is called first on the mind. First on the mind. In other words, they want you to keep seeing them. And there's a psychology to that. Once you keep seeing something over time, there was a movie. I don't know whether many of you watched the movie. Anyway, let me not go into that, where they engineered the decision of someone who is about to go into betting. They engineered him to pick a particular figure. Right from the day he arrived in that city, they kept showing him everywhere 5-5. So when finally they said he should choose a number, of course he has to choose 5-5 because he has been seeing that on the road, everywhere he goes, in the hotel, they put things there. People are doing anything on the road, anywhere, even in the hotel, even in his bedroom, everywhere, 5-5, 5-5. And that's the principle. For us, if you go to a place you want to buy a soft drink, what do you normally ask for? I want to buy Coke. But in actual fact, it's not Coke. You want something cold, probably it's even Fanta or it's even Pepsi. But what comes to your mind is Coke because that's the first of the mind. And Coca-Cola has gone ahead to also do something to all of us. And what is that? They've also sold to us the sound of Coca-Cola. When you open Coca-Cola, what's the sound that you hear? Shh. Is that not it? So if you open Coca-Cola and the shh is not there, you will say, no, this is not Coca-Cola. And I've seen that in action before. People will say, no, Mamo, don't take it. That is not Coca-Cola. It's not something, somebody is adulterated. Because they've sold to us, when you open it, there must be that sound. And some of these adverts come when we're watching football. We're in the mood where whenever we see or hear, we take in because we are enjoying the match at the time. So they quickly bring those information out. You always see the way they bring it out. So as you are watching the football, you see side by side the message. And you take it in whether you like it or not. Do we still have her now? Margaret, please, can you just keep a call? So what I'm saying in essence is this. If you want your business to be first of the mind, you have to find a way of getting this into people's eyes, people's ears, and people's feelings. If you don't do that, you won't be top of the mind. You will not be top of the mind. You're just making your shoe inside your room. Nobody knows anything. You're not advertising. Nobody is talking. You are not and you want to sell. I mean, we have so many people doing that. So you have to find a way. And that's why when you have a name, the name must be catchy. Where you put the name, it must be feasible. And if possible, is there something like a music that can go with it? Coca-Cola, is it? I didn't sit down to hear this one. This thing entered my brain by force.
It's finding it difficult to reconnect. Just sent me a text now.
Okay, we'll wait for like
she's
2 more
trying,
minutes.
she's still trying to join. Yeah.
Thank you. So,
Right.
I'm not sure why I got kicked out.
You said?
Hello?
I don't know. I got kicked out, but I've been trying to find back. I'm not sure.
Okay, we are waiting. Just try it.
So,
thank you.
All right. If she cannot, then probably by phone we can speak through you. If we wait like a few more minutes, we're just trying to wrap up now. Surulere, is that will you be able to answer your question a little bit? All right. So where you are considering marketing, like she said, has to do with storytelling. If you don't know how to tell a story around your product, nobody will buy it.
Hello there. Okay. It's not allowing you to sign in again.
Because as you're calling me, it's cutting it.
Okay, so because okay, because we're thinking you could talk and wrap up through the phone.
We're hearing you. Tell her we're hearing you.
Everybody is hearing you.
Oh, okay. Just give me a moment. I will join back in now.
Okay. All right.
All right. So marketing has to do with selling stories to people, stories that you and I can relate with. If you can't relate with the story, you won't see any value in it. There are so many good products, but unfortunately, you just discover that people are not using those things. And there are bad products that we are also buying because of marketing. They will tell you this thing will destroy your life. Yes, people are still buying it. It's because of the adverts. I will give everybody an assignment. When you get back home, especially when you are really settling down and you have really, it's a period you can think, try and see some of the things, music, adverts that you had when you were very small, where you were really, really young. You will hear on radio, on television. Can you still remember them today? You will discover, yes, you can still remember them. Joy, joy girl. Some of you were not born then, but we had that one. And I can tell you, I can even see the movie, the video as I'm talking with you right now. And it was inserted into programs that we love to watch. And so we had everything together. And that's the same way you do. So it costs a lot of money to actually advertise. If you were there when we had a training, the program on Beats to Bank, you heard from Dari. You can sing, everybody can sing. But what brings you out the most is your marketing. And you pay a lot to get the word out. But once the thing catches fire, that's it. Then you begin to recoup from what you have spent even in the past. All right. Any other question? Margaret, I think you can call her now.
I'm so sorry I got kicked out. I'm back on. Oh, I was there when you were talking about Joy Girl.
Oh, I didn't even know. All right, so
Okay.
over to you.
Welcome
Please
back.
wrap up. Welcome back. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me. I didn't even realize that there were people across the nation. I was hearing names like Mina, and that just humbles me. I missed out on some of the last set of questions that you asked. Perhaps you can just, I think I dropped my LinkedIn before I got kicked out. I could drop it again. You can maybe send me a message personally or something if there's anything that perhaps I didn't have the time to address based on the amount of time that we had. I'm happy to engage outside of this training. And thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for sharing as well. Some of us had very insightful comments, some very, comments and questions that provoked, some thinking. And in closing, I would say that, just do it. That's what I always say, right? The scenes and scenarios do not have to be perfect before you do it. Just go ahead. Some of us have several reasons why we shouldn't pursue what that desire or that goal is. It doesn't have to be perfect. I started from the garage of my house. Today the story is different. So I encourage you, you're already in the right path for seeking knowledge. Keep seeking knowledge. Nobody knows it all. I'm sure some of you even know a lot more than I do. But just keep seeking knowledge and seeking opportunities to share your story. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you to the American Corner. Thank you so much.
Let's put our hands together for Miriam. Thank you, thank you, thank you very much. What a great way for us to wrap up this session for the year. We've been on this journey from January till date, and we've run several courses because of you. And what a great way that we're ending this year. We want to encourage you to stay with us. We have a lot that we've planned for you for next year. And Miriam is one of our alums. Somebody asked a question about grant. Mentioned something about grant. That's always the question. They want to know how to get grants for their business. I think this is an opportunity for you to ask her on her LinkedIn profile, which she sent. So please, you can inbox her and find out facts. I believe she has quite a lot to share with you. So thank you very much. Thank you, Mrs. Hame, for helping with making this contact. Thank you, all the directors at all our spaces. For you, those of us who don't know, we have 25 American spaces in the country. We're still going to open more next year. And we want to make sure that every nook and cranny in Nigeria is covered. So when somebody sits where Miriam is, they can reach out to many people in various locations in Nigeria without having to go to radio or television. People can learn even at places that are very close to them. And with that, we want to say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year in advance. Bye to you, everybody. See you, everyone. On Friday is the final day when we're having a conversation with an alum. It's a Friday, 11 o'clock. You can watch on Facebook Live. I encourage you to be part of it, especially if you're interested in health. It's going to really, really bless you. Have a wonderful day and bye-bye.